Our speaker today is Dr. Patti Blundell, Professor of Education. Patti enjoys developing new online courses, has given presentations about online teaching, and conducted research into the ways distance learning can benefit place-bound adults. Assessment and accreditation are also important to Patti. She served as a faculty coordinator preparing assessment data for accreditation visits by the National Council for Accreditation of Teacher Education, and currently serves as a state and national reviewer for the Council for Accreditation of Educator Preparation. Patti has been elected both Vice President and President of the Nebraska Association of Colleges for Teacher Education. She was a nominee for the CSC Teaching Excellence Award this year and brings to the classroom experience she has gained as a private consultant to school districts. This work has also given her the opportunity to influence the Nebraska Department of Education's evaluation practices for improving after-school programs. Patti has 3 children, Angie and her husband, Mike, and their 2 children, Will and Emma. They live in Harrisburg, South Dakota. Mike Blundell and his friend Elena, they live in Beijing, China. Mike has earned a bachelor's and master's degree from CSC. Joy Weaver and her husband, Clay, who live in Rapid City, South Dakota, with their children, Ariana and Jalen. Joy has a bachelor's degree from CSC. Patti's parents, Don and Shirley Kay, are retired ranchers and live in Chadron. I am proud to invite Patti to the podium for the commencement address. Thank you. Patti?
Good morning, Dr. Ryan, Mr. Bagansky, Dr. Snare, Dr. Heyer, Dr. Margetts, Dr. Powell, Ms. Mitchell, faculty and staff, friends and family, and 2018 master's graduates. We welcome you very much here today to celebrate. Unlike normally, when I'm with the folks sitting in front, there will be no tests, no quizzes, no activities, no assessments. So unless you're assessing me, so you can be relieved at that. We're here to celebrate your master's degree, an awesome accomplishment. Some of you might have noted, graduated from CSC before. For others, it might be your first visit to Chadron. In thinking about this morning, graduation is a time of looking back and looking forward. In that spirit, I've been thinking about Chadron State, its history, and its future. As a graduate, you're now part of the history, and you're a part of the future. You carry that CSC banner into the future. How did Chadron State begin? Well, if you've been to my office, that area, Old and Min, we have lots of pictures of that past. We have pictures of CSC students growing their own food up around where Hildreth Hall is now. The Chadron State started in 1911 as a normal school. That's a teacher's college. Teachers were needed in this newly settled area that had a growing population. There were many influences that started the settling of this region. The fur trade, discovery of gold in the Black Hills, the expansion of the railroads west. But maybe the most influential, at least probably in my life, was the Homestead Act of 1862. The Homestead Act provided free land for those brave enough to move into the wide open spaces. I want to share just a bit of my personal connection to the Homestead Act. A teacher can't come without a visual aid, right? This paper is an original Homestead Act land paper. I wish you could see it up close. Wonderful penmanship must have been a requirement to work in the land office. This paper was from 1893, giving ownership to 160 acres of Dawes County, Nebraska. Dawes and Sioux County were all one area at that time. The land is actually located east of agate fossil beds along the Niobrara River in what is now Sioux County. The person, Mary Bell, who had this homestead, was a relative of my great-grandparents, John and Emma Kay. They eventually bought this land, as well as proving up on their own 1914 homestead. The Kays, like many homesteaders, seized the opportunity to own land. Nebraska author Willa Cather wrote in her book, O Pioneers, about the homesteaders and their trials. Cather's account emphasized their belief that the land was the most important thing. The land should be held onto at all costs. She also noted that the pioneers soon learned that farming methods and crops that had been successful in the old country or in the more eastern parts of the United States did not work on the plains. Many tried and failed at farming. Those who eventually were successful changed crops, farming methods, and acquired more land. The land papers from my Kay family show that their experience was very similar. More land was needed in the drier, higher areas of western Nebraska than what they had experienced in Iowa. First, my great-grandparents and later my grandparents bought more land from their neighbors, relatives, until they had enough pasture and hay for raising cattle, not for farming. Why do the experiences of the homesteaders matter to us today? Their experiences molded the values that are part of this region. The core values that can be traced throughout the history and development of Chadron State College. We currently are designated a frontier college. Did you know that? Meaning far and remote. If this is your first visit, you might have noticed that we are in the wide open spaces. If you are a child of the plains, you are comfortable with the 360-degree skies and sparsely populated areas. You might have even grown up in a family that holds on to the land at all costs. If you're a newcomer, the open spaces may seem a bit daunting or empty. CSC has grown and thrived since 1911. Students no longer are growing their food south of Hildreth Hall, although with sustainable farming and food to table, maybe we should think about that. CSC has thrived because of the values that have shaped this region. These values are still important today. I believe the frontier pioneer values are also reflected in you, today's master's graduates. Let's take a look at a few of these frontier values. Adventure. Let's try something new. Can you imagine the 1800 farmer who said to his wife, "Oh, let's pick up and move to western Nebraska"? There's nothing there. You had to have a sense of adventure. Homesteaders left more civilized places for a new adventure. Much like you, might have signed up for online courses at a college you had never seen. You all embarked on the adventure of seeking a master's degree, perhaps not knowing if you had what it takes. Opportunity. What's out there? That idea keeps pushing us to make a better life. Homesteaders saw opportunity in being able to prove up and own their own land. You sought opportunity through earning a master's degree. Sacrifice. Living in the wide open high plains was not easy. Homesteaders sacrificed many comforts to try the new adventure. Like them, you and your families undoubtedly sacrificed many things to make a master's degree a reality. Hard work. Homesteaders worked hard to take care of the land, grow their crops, and raise their animals. You have spent countless hours studying and preparing those long assignments to earn your degrees. Perseverance. Sticking to the land required a tough spirit. Even today, this region is not an easy place to be successful. It requires tenacity, some call that stubbornness, and the ability to keep on going. Likewise, there are those who begin degree programs but do not finish. By your presence here today, we know that you have perseverance in reaching an important goal. Adaptability. A key to success for the homesteaders was learning that they could not always rely on the tried and true, but had to develop new methods and ways of living to fit their environment. Likely, to be successful in your classes, you encountered different ways of thinking and learned a flexible approach towards classmates and professors. As you take the next steps into your future, please contemplate the lessons learned from both the homesteaders and your experiences at CSC. Who knows what your adventure will be? I believe you are well prepared with knowledge and skills, but also with the values of an institution and a region, equipping you to be ready to seek the next adventure. We are still far and remote. There are many empty spaces, but we have learned to seek adventure. We share in the ability to work hard, adapt, sacrifice, and persevere. These qualities will serve CSC well, it serves our graduates well when the next opportunity arises. Once again, congratulations and best wishes in embracing the past and meeting the next challenge that comes your way. Thank you.